Just a brilliant song. Bronski Beat, Small Town Boy. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you for listening today. I wish you a brilliant Thursday. But right now it's 12 o'clock. We'll say good afternoon, Tina Dahealy.
Thanks, Gary. And good afternoon. This is Tina Dahealy sitting in for Jeremy Vine on the programme this lunchtime. It looks like Northern Ireland's heading for an election with the loyalist DUP blocking the formation of a power-sharing executive. If you live there, what's it been like without devolved government? We meet the country's only vegan-friendly pest controller. Also, the cost of living crisis means that some people who would consider themselves middle class are having to claim benefits. Is that you? And have you ever been trapped in a lift? I'd love your stories. vine@bbc.co.uk. Include your name and number so we can call you back. Text 88291 or WhatsApp us 08000 288 291.
BBC Radio 2.
But first, let's get the latest BBC News from Claire Runacres.
Thanks, Tina. Politicians in Northern Ireland are returning to Stormont this lunchtime in a bid to restore the devolved government. They'll attempt to elect a new speaker, which is a necessary first step. But they're up against a deadline of midnight, otherwise they'll face another election. Freya McClements is the Northern editor of the Irish Times.
We have had caretaker ministers remaining in post, for example, so some decisions have been able to be made. What will happen from midnight is that those ministers will also lose their posts, so there will quite simply be no devolved government in Northern Ireland. So all those decisions that would normally be taken about things like schools, education, the health service, infrastructure, roads, none of those will happen.
The energy giant Shell says its profits more than doubled between July and September compared with the same period last year, rising to more than £8 billion. Helped by high oil and gas prices, the company is on track to break its record annual profit and says it will reward its shareholders with a 15% increase in its regular dividend. A woman's been found guilty of murdering and decapitating her friend in order to inherit her estate. Gemma Mitchell, who's 38, was convicted of killing 67-year-old Mi Quen Chong in northwest London in June last year before putting her body into a suitcase and dumping it in Devon. Miss Chong's remains were found by holidaymakers in Salcombe. The chair of the Home Affairs Committee, the Labour MP Dame Diana Johnson, has said the asylum and immigration systems are in crisis due to a huge backlog of claims waiting to be processed. The Conservative Party chairman, Nadeem Zahawi, has insisted the government and the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, are working with real urgency to reduce the number of migrants crossing the Channel.
There are no easy options, easy answers. There's no sort of silver bullet. There's a number of things that Suella's doing and looking at, including, by the way, if you look at the spike in numbers this year, about 80% of it's coming from Albania. And the work that we're doing with our French counterparts is to engage with the Albanian government to deal with this.
Hundreds of thousands of NHS workers have started voting on whether to strike about pay. Unison is urging its members in England, Wales and Northern Ireland to walk out over a below-inflation pay offer. And the Indian women's cricket team is to be paid the same match fee as the men's team in a landmark moment for equality in the sport. The announcement was made by the top Indian cricket official as part of a push to boost the women's game. Jacob Evans reports.
Under the announcement, India's women internationals, like the men, will earn over $18,000 for a test match. That's almost 5 times more than they currently earn. Women's cricket is rapidly growing in popularity across India, and the team has scored notable success, winning a silver medal at this year's Commonwealth Games. Last week, the Indian cricket authorities announced plans to replicate the lucrative Indian Premier League tournament in the women's game. The women's IPL could begin as early as next March.
Jacob Evans reporting. BBC News, it's 4 minutes past 12.
Now, Tina Dahealy. Listen live on the BBC Sounds app. BBC Radio 2.
Thanks so much, lovely Claire, getting us underway on Thursday afternoon. A bit of Duran Duran.